Hello, Sagies. Hello, peeps. Here we are once again looking at these ladies from Potomac. The reunion part 3. Real Housewives of Potomac, y'all. This is Indigo and Pia. All right, so Pia, what did you think? I know we already know we don't need 4 parts, but what did you think of this part?
Honey, now listen. I'm going to have to tell it like it is. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. We did not need 3 parts. We did not need 3 parts because most of the stuff that they covered tonight, they had already covered on part 1 and 2 when all the ladies were going back and forth interrupting. What did you think?
It was ridiculous, repetitive, and we didn't need it. I totally agree. Although there's one thing that I was happy to see, and it was how ridiculous oh my gosh, what's her name? The doctor's notes was compared to last year's notes. I was happy to see that. I don't know why that gave me some satisfaction. Idiot.
Girl, we are definitely gonna have to get into that. I did want to mention that it has been a lot of uproar on social media about the difference between Escala on The Real Housewives of Potomac and Kathy Hilton on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Both of these ladies were friends to the show, okay? Neither one of them was holding anything. There was no diamonds, none of that. However, Kathy Hilton got to stay for the full 4 parts. And Escala was quickly asked to go. And so people have been in a full-on uproar about how unfair that was. And I never even thought about it. I really didn't until I started seeing everything go back and forth on the Real House, on the Real Housewives, social media pages and everything. And to me, that did seem to be a little bit of a difference. Escala did give a little this season, and I don't understand why she wasn't given that same option to stay for the full show the way Kathy Hilton was. Had you heard or seen anything about that?
No. However, okay, so now that you say it, yes, I see a difference. To be honest, I didn't even notice a difference. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't. It's because I didn't really, I'm not a fan. Let me go ahead and say this. I'm not a fan of Escala. Okay. So let me just say that because it might sound like it once I get to talking and telling you how I feel. The same way I didn't notice that she was only there for 2 minutes. I didn't notice that she was in the show for 2 minutes, the season. I could have done without her. I don't feel like she was a contributing factor. Like it still would have been, I would have felt the same about the show that I do now with or without Escala. She was not needed. Now, if she wants to come back, I feel like she should replace Robin, okay? Because I could do without Robin. But we don't need Escala and Robin. We don't. So I did notice that. Now, do I think it's unfair? Here's the thing that I did see on social media was, not on social, was it on social media? I saw it. Mia had said something about, it was social media. The only reason why Escala was there is because she said that she wasn't coming. And so at the last minute, Mia said that they scheduled Escala, that Escala really wasn't supposed to come anyway. And that at the last minute, Mia decided to go ahead and come. And that was the reason why she was, allegedly. But that was the reason why she...
I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, I feel that Escala, she didn't give a lot, but I don't really think Kathy Hilton gave a lot either. Correct. I think that every now and again, Kathy had something that was a little funny, something a little quirky, but she wasn't giving that much. We saw her howling at her dog and clapping bread and, putting on her lipstick and ignoring the reads, but she didn't give that much either. I think that people give Kathy Hilton more privilege because she is Kathy Hilton. But you know what? I never even thought about it. Escala getting a little bit of time, her getting a lot of time. Me personally, I don't care, but I do think that it should be equal and fair.
Well, the difference, let me say real quick, the difference. People for years have been asking for Kathy Hilton to come on. Ain't nobody asked a scholar to come on. That's the difference. And that's a difference that messes with money.
Absolutely.
So that's why Kathy got, I mean, point blank, that's why Kathy got more time. People been asking for her. Ain't nobody sent for a scholar.
What did she give to that reunion though?
Nothing. Lipstick
she
tutorial.
spent 30 minutes of the reunion talking about her and Kyle and their mama.
And they cried.
Which was not absolutely necessary. I'm just saying. I loved Who is Hunky Dory? Like, I love that. That's perfect. That's great. But that can't be all you're going to give. And I'm just saying, I'm not the biggest fan of a Scala either. And I think that Kathy was funny. I think she was absolutely hilarious. But she wasn't giving. I'm just saying, you know what? It's over. It's done with, whatever. But I just don't think it's fair that Kathy got to stay for the full 4 parts and the Scala was quickly escorted the hell out. I'm just saying, it is what it is.
I think if it was flip-flop and switched, I think it'd be the same. I think if we did not know who Kathy Hilton was, like if they switched places, if a Scala was somebody's sister, if a Scala was Giselle's sister, and she had millions and millions of dollars, and she, you know, we all knew her and everything, and viewers were requesting for a Scott, like, where's your sister Giselle? You know, and nobody knew Kathy. I honestly feel like Bravo would treat them the same. I think Bravo and the producers are motivated by money. I don't
absolutely
on this season, this go round. I think if it was switched, it'd be the same. That's all I got to say.
Well, we'll never know. But anyway, so let's get into this reunion. So this whole thing with Eddie and Giselle and Wendy and these raggedy receipts.
Jane from Joliet, Illinois said, Wendy, why do you think you're exempt from getting talked about when it comes to rumors about your marriage when everyone on the show has experienced it?
Everything, unfortunately, is fair game, Wendy. Whether or not it's true or whatever the source is, if it's something that we feel is relevant to a conversation, I don't know why we would tiptoe around it or why we should censor ourselves in what we say.
My piece around this is I feel like it was calculated because this is the same blog that said Giselle paid Jamal $100,000 to be her significant other last year. This is the same blog that said that Giselle has an STD. The fact that she specifically targeted me and chose, I'm going to talk about this without saying on camera, well, this blog also talks about me, shows that what you did was calculated.
No, she was talking about social media.
I pulled my phone records because, you know, I'm married to an attorney. I called you. I called you one time.
That was the time.
Yeah. We talked.
So we didn't talk?
For 1 minute. Ooh. So you're a liar.
No.
We pulled the phone records again. And it shows that there were no calls made.
I don't think this matters.
Yes, it does. Because she's saying that we...
I got to tell you something.
And I called you.
We went from the binder to this loose leaf folder.
Here we go. Let me say this.
This is a fall.
Let me tell you.
You know, Robin tries to say that, you know, she didn't realize what Ashley was saying to her about Eddie. She thought that when Ashley came to the house and started talking to Wendy about Eddie, that it was about something totally different. I don't buy it.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, I got that written down. I was like, do you believe it? Well, what she said, okay, so what she said was that she, something about the timing, that, yeah, you know, there are text messages. She did, you know, at least she didn't deny that, because I was like, girl, you better not deny it when I was watching the commercials. At least she didn't deny texting about that, but she said, you know, this was months later and she thought it was something else. So you don't believe that she thought it was something else, or do you not believe that Giselle didn't already let her homegirl know what was up? What don't you believe?
Right. All I can say is all about the tea strikes again. So I was pretty sure that they were talking about All About the Tea all along. I mean, All About the Tea is a really big blog. And it was funny that they were trying to throw shade, saying probably about 100 people had saw All About the Tea. That is not the truth, because before the whole All About the Tea, you know, breaking down the Avatar story had started going on, All About the Tea was getting about 80 to 90,000 views every time they posted something. So it wasn't as if they were this tiny blog like my tiny channel talking crap. You know what I mean? And I can't absolutely 100% say that All About the Tea was telling the 100% truth, but there are quite a few housewives that have come back to say that All About the Tea is lying on them. And I'm not saying that All About the Tea is lying, but I am saying that All About the Tea has been, they put it out there. If they hear it, they post it. And,
okay, wait a minute. Okay, so let me add this. It's been more than just housewives saying that it's not the truth. So I just want to throw that out there. Secondly, this is just since, All About the Tea talk about what they had heard. This is what I had heard, that All About the Tea person like created other like bloggers and like online presences which is still them, but to say that this is my source when it's not a real, when they're making up allegedly making up stories and stuff, that they create different personas to say that they got it from them, and it's just a whole circle of made up stuff. Now I don't know, and
honey, listen, not right about me. I heard the same thing, but I don't know that for sure. I mean, at one point, I was a huge fan of All About the Tea. So, and I still watch All About the Tea from time to time. They haven't posted anything for several months, I think because of what they've been going through. Yeah. I don't know. All of it is alleged, and I do believe that All About the Tea has a source in Potomac. And so they could be getting some of their information from that source. I'm not really sure.
So do you believe Giselle has a hot box indeed?
You know what? I don't know anything about Giselle's hot box, and I do my best to not talk about people's vagina. I have no idea. You know what? Giselle rarely is seen or rarely shows up with a man, so I don't even know how this woman's box would get hot. I really don't. I'm going to stay out of Giselle's box business. I don't know, but I do know that on tonight's episode, when Wendy was trying to pull out these ridiculous receipts, Andy Cohen shaded her down to the floor. He said, this is not working out the way you thought it would. And he said, not only that, last year we went from this binder to you and your loose leaf paper. I mean, it was pretty sad. I mean, Wendy, you and your 4 degrees with your poster board text messages and your phone records. What was with the phone records?
I'm speechless because I expected more. Okay, now I will say this too. I had heard before the reunion even started that Andy was disappointed that the only reason why Andy had put her up next to him was because she promised that she would come with receipts. Because I was shocked that she was next to him. And so I was excited. And when I seen what she had and how it was so dismissed, my excitement just deflated. And I just really expected more. I really honestly did. Even though I wasn't a fan of hers last year, I liked her getting Giselle in check. I expected more from someone who bragged that much about 4 degrees.
You know what? I appreciated her getting Giselle all the way together. I really did. I think that she probably needs to go to the School of Monique to pull up some receipts or to learn how to deliver the receipts. However, Giselle has not fooled anybody. She's on here talking about how concerned she was about Wendy. No, ma'am. You were not concerned about this lady at all, because if you were really concerned about her, you would have had a private conversation with her, as we have stated before. And I still do not know why, in the middle of Giselle and Wendy having this conversation about Wendy's husband, why Mia felt the need to jump into this conversation. You need to handle your tacky husband and not worry about what the hell Wendy is talking about with her husband. Mia should not have gotten involved.
That's true. Do you think, here's the thing, when do you stop pretending to be friends? Because what's it? Wendy trying to act like she expects some kind of, as a friend, like Giselle would talk to her. Giselle ain't your friend. Giselle ain't your friend.
The only friend Giselle has is Robin. And you know what I thought was really funny? And I forgot to mention that. Every time that Wendy brings up that she can't believe that they would bring this up on national TV, do you know what that makes me think about? What? It makes me think about how last season, when they all got together allegedly and decided that they were going to say that Monique was cheating on her husband and that her baby doesn't belong to her husband. I thought, if they could say something like this about this woman and her husband and baby, what makes you think your husband is off limits? Now, do I agree with them bringing up this woman, her baby and husband? No. Do I agree with them bringing up Wendy, her husband, and his alleged affair and alleged baby on the way? No. But she is no more special than Monique.
And what's funny is because she's doing the same type of behavior, but to the next level in some areas. As she, had disdain for that Monique was doing. And when
remember last year she said Monique was aggressive, and Wendy has been aggressive all season.
Very much.
And I said that. I said Wendy owes Monique an apology, because last season you called her aggressive and angry, and you came off a little aggressive and angry this season.
Very much.
And everybody kind of let it slide, except for, of course, the two people who were in her clutches, which was Robin and Giselle. But I still do not believe in any way that Robin and Giselle was trying to be supportive to Wendy by bringing this topic up and body shaming her and saying that she was loose and that she, just the things that they said about her does not say I am supportive of my friend.
Yeah. But you know what? Wendy needs to understand they're not friends, and she needs to get on. If she gonna come back to the show, she needs to understand you ain't got no friends. I mean, do you think Wendy has a friend on the show? Honestly, Pia?
The only person I think that is close to being a true friend to Wendy is Karen. Now, you seen that display that Candace was acting as if she was Team Wendy, this whole 3 parts. But on the truth, I don't think that Candace is really Wendy's friend. I think that the only person who is somewhat her friend is Karen.
What I'm going to say is the only person who would be honest with her is Karen. The other ones, I don't. I agree with you except for I don't think I would go as far as saying that Karen is. But I guess we're saying the same thing, because you said the closest to a friend.
Yeah, the closest to a friend would be Karen.
I was like, Karen will be honest with you. The rest of them will talk about you behind your back and possibly plot and plan. And I forgot what it was. Something happened tonight to where I felt like if what's her name? Dang, Candace was a friend of hers, she would have said something to back her up, but she didn't say nothing. She was nodding her head. And I was like, see?
Well, we did find out at least that Robin's hat business has afforded her enough money to pay off her pay off her taxes and to put the down payment on her house. I still do not believe that story about her being offered for TJ Maxx and Macy's. I don't buy it, not a tiny bit. But I do appreciate that her and Juan are in their home. I do not believe that they really will get married. And if they do by chance actually walk down the aisle again, it will be for her trying to save her spot on the show for the next season.
Yes, and yes. And I was going to ask you, do you believe that they're really going to get married? Wasn't that cold-blooded? Andy said they're talking about who believes that she's going to get married?
Will you get married next year?
I hope so.
Who here thinks they're going to get married next year?
She said she's getting married. She's getting married.
But that's Andy. Andy loves to bring the shade. And as you can see, nobody really buys it. Nobody buys it, really. Candace is acting as if she was Team Robin and Juan. Giselle always asks as if she's Team Robin and Juan, but Juan doesn't look like he's really in love with Robin at all. He does seem to love her as a person, as the mother of his children, but he does not come off as somebody who is truly 100% in love with that woman.
You're right, and that's sad, because she is with him.
Honey, listen, when Andy asked Ashley about Michael and Michael and Juan.
That was disrespectful.
Ashley, why is Michael always saying that Robin and Juan are not going to get married?
Michael is of the thought that they've been together this long without being married, that, like, why would they? They're already together.
You know Michael
it's just a piece of paper.
Juan. Michael want to take Juan away.
That was
Giselle said, you know that Michael wants to marry Juan. And that is the truth.
Disrespectful. Andy is disrespectful. It don't matter what I believe. Andy is disrespectful. Don't you
Giselle is right, though.
Don't you come at me.
You know that it pains me to say it. Actually, it pains me to say it that Giselle is right. Michael definitely has a full crush on Juan.
We've seen your husband act a million times worse, and you always seem to give him a pass, so what's the big deal?
I'm sorry. Let's rewind.
Okay.
My husband has never been overtly sexual with anyone in this group.
I mean, he said he would suck Juan's so... Wow. That's something sexual.
Did Juan have a problem?
What? Oh,
it was a joke. It was a joke.
You know what my concern, honest to goodness, all jokes aside with all of this, I don't like, besides it getting old, because he's using the same stuff, saying the same stuff over and over again about Juan and Michael, and they're not even there, okay? So
for a reason.
I'm ready for him to stop. But besides that, we have to be careful to people who are not in the LGBT community. We cannot keep making jokes and insinuating, and not necessarily that they are, but putting them in the realm of it if they are not in it.
Well, I realize that. I definitely realize and agree with that, but Michael made the statements that he made, and it was on TV, so it's clear that Michael has some sort of crush on Juan. Now, Juan, on the other hand, Juan has not acted interested in Michael in any other way but friendship.
But they keep on, his name keeps coming up, and it's associated with it. I bet if we Google Michael and Juan right now, it's going to be something.
Well, you know what? You have to blame Juan for that as well, because when they were at Karen's wedding, wasn't he the one asking Michael for a hug and everything? So he knows, he's very well aware of it, and he's playing it up. You know, it's a joke to him because he knows that he's not interested in Michael in that way. And
he's doing that for Robin so she can have some kind of screen time.
Probably. I have no idea, but I also had no idea that if you wanted to get pregnant and you wanted to have a daughter, you can't have the doggy style. I found that out. I didn't know that. I said, oh my. I don't. They just talk about some of the crazy things. I'm just like, when we talking about bowel movements this reunion twice. I said, how are these conversations getting in the reunion? And, you know, Andy goes back to talk to Nikki, and that was really cool because she let him know that she was going in, she was going to ask some questions, and she was definitely going to, you know, pinpoint some questions that her and the Barbs had to Ashley, which I appreciated. And Andy told her that it was okay for her to be biased. And I wanted to say that a lot of times people think that us bloggers or YouTubers, whatever you want to call us, content creators, that we don't have the right to be biased. We do. And let me tell you why we do. Because we are not journalists. You do not see me on NBC, on Dateline, none of that. You never see me on the news. Those people are journalists. The people who write the paper, journalists. Us YouTubers and content creators, we are not journalists. We are regular people who are giving our thoughts and our opinions. So we have rights to be biased and pick who we like. That's because we are not journalists. I don't have to stick to the facts. I can just stick to my opinions. I'm just saying. All right. I appreciated Andy telling her that she's allowed to be biased.
Let me shoot you with 3 questions. So real quick before we go way out, Miss Dorothy calls in. Do you think that was planned or an accident? Or a coincidence?
I think
that Andy talks to her and then says, hang this up. I thought that was rude, but do you think that was planned?
I think it was. So Peeps and Sages, the husbands have all come out, and there was a question about Michael and Juan, and Ashley tried to answer the question as if her husband is so much better than Gordon. Her husband is an upstanding citizen, and he would never ever do some of the things that Gordon did. So Andy brings up the whole Michael asking to Juan, and it did not go over that great. I mean, everybody was laughing, and Ashley was sitting there as if she was a bit shocked. But there has been quite a few things. Even Giselle tried to take Ashley's side a little bit because she just doesn't like G. She says, "Oh, Michael has never just outright act." And then Shady Bravo showed the flashback of him pinching that man's butt. There's just been a lot of things that have gone on with Michael Darby. And, G apologizes to Ashley, and I appreciate him apologizing. I also appreciate her accepting his apology. But my thing is this: he made fun of her being asleep in the back of the bus, which is a childish thing to do, but it was a light thing. And she blew it up and made it into something major. If she would have just laughed it off and went on back to sleep, it would have been nothing. Exactly. So I appreciate that he apologized. And I'm grateful that she accepted his apology, but she's the one who made this what it was.
She did. She
was doing the most. And did you notice that Chris was out there, the only one out there drinking tequila? And I said, is this the time or place? Because Bravo and the editing team have already made it seem like you have a drinking problem.
I think, Indigo, coming from me right here, right now, it's going to be something we're going to see about Chris. It's going to be like I think it's going to be a storyline for Candace. I think this whole season was a build-up for a storyline for Candace to be like, I am struggling with his drinking. And then Bravo's going to go doom, 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 and roll that beautiful bean footage of all the times he drank and all this. That's what I think that it's for.
Did you also notice that Andy called out Michael not showing up to the reunion, but he did not call out Juan? And I said, well, Michael has missed just as many reunions as Juan.
Didn't somebody say, or this might have been this might have been online, but didn't somebody make a joke on there and said that they vacationing together?
I don't know.
Okay, I heard that. It was just alleged. It was just a joke. Alleged a joke. I don't believe it. Let me be like, I don't believe it.
We get to Miss Dorothy calling, and she just seems as if she really does not truly believe that she owes that man an apology.
And you know what? I wouldn't have answered her. Here's the thing. Candace already knows that. Candace, I guarantee you, already knows that she feels like she doesn't owe an apology. Why did Candace answer the phone?
Because she wanted her mom to be put on notice. She wanted Andy to talk to her mom. Notice. She wanted her mom to say something. And I personally would not have answered. And I would have had my phone buried so deep under a pillow that nobody would have known it was vibrating.
Exactly. That's what they all do. She didn't. And she answered. And it was a coincidence of the timing. And then Andy's like, let me talk to her. And did you see in some of the previews, which it didn't play out on this one, I thought we'd see, but we didn't. But he says, oh, let me go to the back and bring out Mama Dorothy. And then Candace says, I will get up and leave.
That was last episode.
Okay. So you don't really feel like that.
Yeah.
Because she's
Yeah, I think that Mama Dorothy does not think that she owes him an apology. She does not think that she owes Candace an apology. And she wants to try to blame other people for her behavior. And as a mom, you cannot just tear down your daughter's husband, especially in public like that. It's embarrassing.
Why would the daughter give her a platform to do so? That's ridiculous. That's the part where I'm saying that is ridiculous and I'm calling BS. And I wonder how Chris feels about it, because the thing about it is they must feel like they need Miss Dorothy as a part of their storyline, because otherwise anybody reasonable would say, Mom, I had you on one time and you was just really showing out. well, they probably wouldn't say like, that's how I would say it. They probably wouldn't say it like that, but they would just do what they got to do to not have her a part of their storyline anymore if they really truly cared about their family and their husband and they're hurt and they got little triangle stabbing their eye things.
Maybe she has a hard time turning her mom down, or it's clear that her and her mom, they don't have quality boundaries. It's clear that her mom does whatever it is she wants to do. And Candace is sort of a mama's girl. So I guess that's, how it is between her and her mom. But I would not have answered that phone, especially if I'm extremely ticked off at her. And I did hear when they showed the flashback of G and his behavior, I did hear him apologize to Ray. And I thought that was really nice too, because he was, sticking his tongue out to Karen and telling her how cute and hot she was, which crosses the line, a little bit. So I appreciate that he apologized to Ray.
Mm-hmm. And I was glad that Karen explained it just a little bit and said that they had a more comfortable, because they knew each other better. And, even though there's no excuse for that behavior, but
he was lit up. That man was lit up. I mean, from the moment he got there, he was taking shots of, what was that, Grey Goose? The goose was
I don't want to be here.
He was doing the most.
He
really was. Andy asked Robin about why Juan doesn't hardly show up during the season for her. And she put it off on him being a basketball coach. And my thing is this. We have seen on so many different Housewives shows, the basketball wives, the football wives, the ex-wives, like everybody, all the wives are always talking about their sports player husbands, their sports coach husbands, and how they are always busy, busy, busy. And the women are always talking about how they sacrifice so much for these men. And my thing is this, when do they sacrifice for the women? You can't find 2 hours at some point to do something nice with me. When do you sacrifice? We were lucky to get him at Karen's wedding. And the 2 times we saw him at the embellished warehouse, that was a gift. And you seen how fast he got in that argument with Robin and ran the hell out of there. He wasn't unpacking no boxes or nothing. I just, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm all for sacrificing for my husband and my family. But if you can't sacrifice for me, we are through.
Yeah, I'm totally, I've learned that this late in life, I have learned what you just said. Like, I want what I give.
Right.
And there's so many times where women do, I don't know why they done made us feel like we just got to give more. No, we don't.
Right.
No, we don't. I want exactly what I give. I'm going to give my all. And if I see you're not giving your all, bye.
I can no longer do a relationship where I am giving, 100% and all I'm getting from you is 20%. That is not going to go. And these sports husbands and everything, I know that these women really do appreciate how they take care of the financial aspect, but a marriage and a relationship is more than finances. It really is. And when a woman is at home 24/7, taking care of the home front and taking care of the kids, the least you can do is show up for something. I'm just saying.
I boil it down to this. It is all about happiness. If you call yourself being in a relationship, and be honest, that's any relationship, including work.
Right.
You should be happy.
Right.
And when you're not happy, you need to re-examine, point blank, period. And then especially if it's a romantic relationship, if both of you are not happy, you need to re-examine. And that's all I'm saying about that. But there's an issue and you can't ignore it when you wake up and you are not happy.
Right.
So it doesn't matter, the money and all that. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's nice, but you need to be happy.
And it's not the everything. Money is not everything. I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm not one of those people who are materialistic. I could care less about a name brand. I could care less about any of those things. Most of the time, I can't even pronounce the name brand stuff. And then because it's never pronounced the way it looks. And I just couldn't imagine spending $95,000 on a purse, on none of that. I mean, I'm not spending more than $100 on a purse. It is not my thing. I go to work every day for a reason. I mean, I'm just saying, money is not everything to me. My emotional state, my mental health, my physical health, and my heart is more important to me than knowing that there's $1 million in the bank, because that $1 million in the bank is not going to hold me at nights. Do you understand? You have to come home. You got to do some stuff. Anyway, Chris gets into a little bit of a tear about his managing Candace, and he says he's more of a glorified secretary.
I always knew he was. Do you know he really didn't? Okay, if you look back, okay, so first of all, I was glad that they played that, because I felt, first of all, the man never said everything that the viewers and people was making him out to be. I kind of felt like he was not. If you recall, like the last time we talked about it, I said, I just can't see a chef jumping into management. It just didn't make sense to me. I had a hard time wrapping my mind around it. What he said made complete sense. And if we think about it, he didn't really claim to be, did he claim to be her manager?
Well, I think that it was more the fact that she was telling everybody that he was her husbander, that he was her manager. If you tell somebody that this music manager, which she said, people are thinking that he's your manager. Not that he's your glorified gopher and secretary. We don't know the difference between it if you introduce it that way. True. You know, and then him saying that Miss Dorothy doesn't know anything about his finances. Only thing she knows about his finances is what she reads on the blog, and how he wasn't going to pay for that house as long as, I guess, it was her house and
it was an investment property for both of them. Is he wrong?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But what was wrong was Mia tweeting that he was tossing her salad, or that he wanted her. That was absolutely disgusting. You are a married woman. Why would you be tweeting that? Now, I understand her tweeting those pictures of Candace's feet, because Candace had been dogging this woman about her height, her feet, her face, and everything this whole season. So when she went after Candace's feet, I was team Mia. But when you start saying that everybody's husband wants you, that's a little nasty and tacky for a married woman. Like, why are you doing that?
It's two different things.
I know that they were harassing her online as well, but you got to come some other way. You got to come with something else. You can't come with your husband tried to, toss my salad and everything. That's just disgusting.
Just like we got on, what's her name? Candace, for saying that your mama. I was like, stick to what you're talking about. Stick to what you're talking about. Ain't nobody talking about or attacking your mama, Candace. Not this season, and not Mia. So I was upset about that, which is, I applied the same thing with Mia. Stick to what you're talking about. Ain't nobody talking about husbands wanting to all of that. Stick to it. So the feet was good. I cackled. I hollered.
I did too. The feet photos and stuff, because I saw that all over social media before they brought it up on the show, and I thought that it was absolutely hilarious. But it's not appropriate for her to be talking about this man's husband. I mean, this girl's husband.
Candace talking about this. She said, "You spent how many hours did you spend trying to find that, baby?" If I was Mia, I would have said it wasn't me. It was my media manager.
There's only so much she can blame on that media manager. But you know what really got me at the end almost was when when Andy asked Giselle, does she feel that she owed Eddie an apology? And she said no. And I said, you know what? This is just Giselle again, not being able to take accountability. Because when Karen made those comments about Jamal, she wanted an apology from Karen, and she wanted Karen to apologize to her children as well. But you don't owe Wendy and her husband an apology at all. I mean, she cannot own up to her own mistakes.
You know what? We really have no idea why she said no. Because, I agree with you. I think she sounds absolutely crazy. to say she doesn't owe him an apology. That sounds crazy. However, I just have a feeling that some of that is her having a big head. She has like the Ramona syndrome where, you know, she feels like she got hired to do a job and she's doing it. And they have no apology. Like well, Ramona apologizes all the time, don't mean it.
Right.
But people who feel like they're overstepping, yeah, because I got hired. This is my job. I got hired to do it. They generally are not apologetic. So
I don't think she's apologetic because she really doesn't want to apologize for it. And she feels that if she apologizes for it, she'll be admitting that she was wrong for bringing it up. And she was
hired to, but she got hired to do that. Like we have to admit,
it's one thing to get hired to do something. I mean, that goes back to the money situation. You may be hired to do something, but how far will you go? How far will your heart and your conscience let you go? And after 6 seasons, do you always have to be the shadiest one, the rudest one? Do you always have to be in that role? Can't you slide your role to a different place from time to time? Can't you keep us guessing? Do we always need to know that you are going to be the one on the very bottom of all the time? I mean, switch up, change up, develop a little bit. Not everybody is always going to be that rock gutter low. Like, come on, step your game up a little bit. Be the different housewife this time. Next season, when you come on, be somebody else. You know what I mean? At least half the season.
I agree.
Half the season, agree with that. Pretend that you are turning over a new leaf. Then at the end of the season, be yourself again. I mean, surprise us.
And all that church lady, she always trying to pretend like a church lady, and those two things don't go. The way she actually acts, and then
no, ma'am. And then 54 minutes into the show, Nicki Minaj comes out. And Lord have mercy, this woman wastes no time. She gives the whole, I like you guys. I'm a fan of you guys. I watch you guys. By the way, these are questions for me in the Barbs. And you know the Barbs do not play. Not even a tiny bit. And
Ashley, to me, because you had just had a baby and you wanted to be home, rightfully so, with your babies, it seemed like you didn't have much of a storyline. So is that why you were willing to, like, be Giselle's sidekick and be shady to Wendy?
No.
You ain't lug your breast milk down there to start some drama to be petty so you can get more camera time, child.
No, Nikki, listen.
First thing she does is go in on Ashley, and I said, oh, Lord. She brought up Ashley's non-existent storyline and how she marched her breast milk in there, set the place on fire, and left. I said, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
She did. That's what she did.
I'm here for it. So we have to wait till next week to see it all unfold. But it did show in the previews that she asked Candace to sing something a cappella, and Candace didn't want to do it. And I said, oh my God.
I'm feeling like I bet she will, because she'll sing. She'll break out and sing all the time.
I think that Candace is a decent. I really think she's a good singer. I think she sounds a lot better than Ashley.
Decent.
And but did you also see in the previews, it looked like she was sticking up for Ashley. In the previews, it looked like she was sticking up for Ashley because she said, well, she had just had a baby and she had to work, with her showing up
that
at the
didn't
thing.
Seem nice.
I said, that has to be editing. Because Candace was talking about Ashley showing up down there with her breast milk too. So I said, what is happening right now?
Your big forehead and your breast milk out of here.
That is crazy.
She was being, I'm going to tell you something. I feel like that was a dig. Candace thinks she's a wordsmith, and some people do think that as well. I don't know why I looked off to the side like somebody standing there. Ain't nobody standing there. I'm just saying some people think, but I can see the intellectual side of what she was saying when she said it. She made it appear that she was defending Ashley,
but we don't know. That could have been editing. Like, that could have been just, she could have been saying she had to work about something else or at a certain
that's true.
point.
Now, that's true.
Editors are really good at making us think she was like defending somebody. I don't know. I'm here
true.
for it. You guys get down in the comments and let us know. Are you here for part 4? Do you want to know what the Barbs and Nicki Minaj has to say? Because I certainly do. I think they are about to ask all the questions that we really wish Andy would have asked. And I wish they would have brought Nicki down to Beverly Hills so she could have questioned Erica.
Girl. Now, before we go, I have one more question, okay? Because I highlights my questions for you, Pia. All right. So, Wendy was called insecure. When her and Mia were going back and forth, Wendy had some good points when she was saying, you know, you're a liar, Mia, because, you know, you said this, you said that, and you said that her man wanted you and wanted the salad or whatever, you know, all of that. And Mia said, but you are insecure because you told Eddie you better not write down Mia's name. You are insecure. Do you think she's insecure or not?
If I am basing off that particular scene, it comes off as being insecure because it was just a game and everybody's husbands was there. Everybody's wife was right there and everyone else is participating in the game. So he should be able to write down whatever it is that he wanted to see. So it did come off as insecure.
It did. It did. I just wanted to see if we was on the same page because I was like, Wendy, you know.
Yeah, I said that then when I reviewed that episode. It came off as extremely insecure and it also came off really bossy to Eddie.
Okay, I feel sorry for Eddie.
Yeah, I said, oh, wow, you're not allowed to take part in this game. Period.
Eddie, I would have been like, I don't want to play. And then I'm gonna tell you something else that seems insecure about Wendy. Her in the first season saying, I got 4 degrees, I got 4 degrees, I got 4 degrees, 4 degrees. Okay. It just something that it seems like she was overcompensating for it. That's all I'm gonna say.
4 degrees was a lot last season because I just felt that just because you have 4 degrees does not make you better than anybody else. And you don't have to keep bringing it up every 5 seconds. People are aware you are the woman with the 4 degrees. Totally get it. So I was really happy to see this current day Wendy. I thought that to me, she was much more easier to take. And I think it's possibly too because she was getting Robert and Giselle together left and right, and I appreciated it. And every now and again, she had to work with Mia just a tiny bit because Mia crossed the line a little bit. Even though I do like Mia, and I hope that she's back next season.
She crossed the line with Wendy?
Yeah.
I mean, we know in social media.
Wendy crossed the line with Mia too. Wendy was really harsh with Mia when she first met her.
Oh,
and it was not necessary.
Mia, I thought you meant Mia crossed the line with Wendy.
They both did. They was doing too much this season. They were at each other's throat a little too much. I think that Wendy started it though, and Mia was just defending herself. Okay. Yeah, Wendy clearly started it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top.
Oh, exactly. Well, get down in the comments, peeps and sages. Let us know what you think. And as we always say, until next time, bye.
Bye.